objective to raise awareness to reclaim the health of our watersheds and sustainable management of our rivers. This day was started in 1997 in Brazil, where the first meeting on this concern was conducted. Today, we have with us Dr. R.P. Pandey. He is Scientist G and Head, Environmental Hydrology Division from National Institute of Hydrology, Roorkee, for expert talk. Now I request our Director, Dr. Rajesh Grover, to share his views on this topic.
Thank you, Dr. Bhalla, and good afternoon, Dr. Pandey, and हमारे यहाँ पर सभी जुड़े हुए जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं, टीचर्स हैं, मैं सभी का इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे हमारे साथ जुड़ने पर आपका बहुत बहुत वेलकम करता हूँ। और जिस तरह डॉक्टर भल्ला ने बताया कि आज हम जो है इंटरनेशनल डे ऑफ एक्शन फॉर रिवर्स सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं, और ये इसकी मैं बताना चाहूँगा ये इसकी 25th एनिवर्सरी है, और जो हर साल एक थीम दिया जाता है, और इस बार का जो थीम है वो है राइट्स ऑफ रिवर्स। और जो मेन इस डे सेलिब्रेशन का जो एम है वो तो यही है, ना सिर्फ जो है हम लोगों को इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ रिवर्स बताएं, बल्कि उसके साथ ही कि क्या एक्शंस रिक्वायर्ड हैं उन सबको रिवर्स को कंजर्व करने के लिए या उन रिवर्स को सस्टेन करने के लिए। और ये डे जो है ये भी डिमांड करता है कि रिवर्स को एक नेशनल असेट के रूप में डिक्लेयर किया जाए और एक लीगल राइट मिले इन असेट्स को, कि ताकि जो है ये रिवर्स जो है वो एक डंपिंग साइट सीवेज और वेस्ट के लिए ना बने। और जिस तरह की आप जानते हो कि सेंचुरीज से ही जो हमारे वर्ल्ड की जो है जितने सिटीज मेजर बने हैं, सिविलाइजेशन जो हुई है वो सभी मेजर सिटीज की जो है वो अलोंग द रिवर्स हुई है। चाहे हम बात करते हैं दिल्ली की या लंदन की या पेरिस, रोम या किसी भी बड़े सिटी की बात करते हैं, तो वो सारी की सारी सिविलाइजेशन जो है वो अलोंग द रिवर्स ही ग्रो करी हैं। और उसका जो एक मेजर जो रीजन है वो यही है क्योंकि जो रिवर्स को जो है हम लाइफ लाइन मानते हैं, क्योंकि सिविलाइजेशन जो है वो हमेशा जो है वाटर बॉडीज के अलोंग इसलिए भी होती है क्योंकि यहाँ दीज आर द इरिगेशन का सोर्स यही है, हमारी पावर जनरेशन का सोर्स यही है, हमारी इंडस्ट्री का, और जो जितने भी हमारी इकोसिस्टम के अंदर बायोडाइवर्सिटी का सबसे बड़ा जो एक सस्टेनेबिलिटी है, वो बहुत सारी बायोडाइवर्सिटी जो है हमारी इन रिवर्स में ही बसती है। और जो आप देखिए कि कितना जो वाटर एक इतना बड़ा इशू है आज की डेट में, कि जो इंक्रीजिंग डिमांड जो हो रही है और जिसके करके जो है ग्राउंड वाटर का भी एक्सप्लॉयटेशन बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है, तो एक मतलब कि सीरियस जो है वो आज की डेट में इनकी एग्जिस्टेंस जो है रिवर्स की जो है वो एक स्टेक पे है उनकी एग्जिस्टेंस भी, और उनको बचाने की बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है। आज की डेट में अगर आप देखिए कितने ही इंटरस्टेट जो है वो डिस्प्यूट्स जो है वो चल रहे हैं, चाहे हम बात करते हैं सतलुज यमुना कैनाल की या कावेरी इशू की, ये सभी जो है इंटरस्टेट डिस्प्यूट्स हैं। तो मतलब कि आप पानी की जो है इस चीज से देखिए कि कितनी इंपॉर्टेंस है, इन रिवर्स की कितनी इंपॉर्टेंस है, कि आज जो है स्टेट्स विद इन द कंट्री हम इन चीजों के लिए लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं। तो जरूरत है कि इन रिवर्स को मैनेज किया जाए, और जो है ताकि ये मल्टीपल जो बेनिफिट्स हैं हम इनको सस्टेन कर सकें और जो वाटर सिक्योरिटी है उसको अचीव कर सकें। और ज्यादा ना कुछ कहते हुए मैं आई वोंट लाइक टू कम इन बिटवीन आवर ऑडियंस एंड डॉक्टर पांडे, एंड आई वंस वेलकम डॉक्टर पांडे, और जो कि आज के हमारे की स्पीकर हैं इस ओकेजन के ऊपर। और डॉक्टर पांडे जो है जिस तरह की पहले बताया है वो हेड ऑफ द एनवायरमेंटल हाइड्रोलॉजी डिवीजन में है, और नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ हाइड्रोलॉजी जो कि रुड़की में है वहां से है। मैं बहुत बहुत वेलकम करता हूं, और साथ ही वेलकम करना चाहूंगा हमारे साथ जितने भी हमारे ऑडियंस हमारे साथ जुड़ी हुई है, उन सबका भी मैं इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे वेलकम करता हूं, और ज्यादा समय ना लेता हूं। ओवर टू डॉक्टर भल्ला, प्लीज कैरी ऑन दिस सेशन।
Thank you, sir. So before starting, I'm just reading out the brief profile of Dr. Pandey. Dr. Pandey, as I have already told you, he is working as a scientist G and head of the Environmental Hydrology Division at National Institute of Hydrology, Roorkee. He did his PhD from Department of Hydrology from IIT Roorkee on drought characterization in mid-climatic regions of India. He is member secretary of Indian National Committee on Climate Change of Department of Water Resources, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. He served as a member, Science Policy Interface of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification during 2014 to 2017. He also served as Secretary of Indian Association of Hydrologists and Indian Society of Water Resources. His important research contributions are development of relationships between climatic parameters and the average drought frequency, revised classification of standardized precipitation index and effective drought index for their applicability in different climatic regions of India, then a new index for quantification of vulnerability to drought. Another one, development, he developed a steam flow drought severity index. He also served as an expert member of core team of author for Drought Manual 2016 of Government of India. So today the topic of his presentation is river health assessment and rejuvenation. Now I request Dr. Pandey to please start your presentation, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bhalla sir, and thank you, Grover sir, for inviting me for this talk. Actually, our director asked me to deliver a talk. I was having a busy schedule, but I agreed for it. Now I hope that the people will enjoy it. Now, friends, it is the need of the hour that we are seeing all around us, that our water bodies, particularly the rivers and lakes and tanks, their health are getting deteriorated in terms of quality and quantity. And also many regions are facing water scarcity problems in different way, in different period, particularly in the summer and the non-rainy season. So friends, I have a small presentation. I will be talking, though it is a little technical, but I will try to be little brief and general during the presentation. So I will be going to share it, and then I will start. So again, good afternoon, everybody. I welcome you all for this small talk from our side. Friends, the river health assessment and also the activities to take up for rejuvenation has become very, very important now. Sir, I will be talking in both Hindi and English. I don't know if people like English or not, but since there are some technical words, so I have to go with the English also in between. It's okay, sir?
It's okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to just, you may be knowing of all these things, that what is a river? It's a very, very basic thing, like I'm telling about A, B, C, D. But yes, technically, a river is an ecosystem where a number of abiotic and biotic factors keep interacting and maintain an equilibrium over the period of time. Friends, we have rivers, streams around us, where we live, where we go, where we travel, where we see when we go anywhere. There are small and big rivers. And for the people who have age in the order of 40 years, 50 years, or even 60 years, they may be observing the practical physical changes in rivers. Earlier, 2-3 decades back, many rivers which were flowing with a fresh and good water, now we are observing physically that these rivers health has gone deteriorated. For example, if you see the river Yamuna, is a holy river, It joins River Ganga at Allahabad and ultimately to the Bay of Bengal. But when we see the river health of Yamuna, particularly in the various stretches like at Delhi, around the Delhi city, up to Agra even, and you see the phase of development, particularly the urbanization. This has also led to aggravate these problems of water bodies and river systems which are flowing close to the major cities and major concentrated habitations. And there may be various regions of it. And now, since we are the rivers which is supposed to be a which is supposed to be a line of all of us, and also for biotic and environmental conditions, these rivers have gone badly polluted, and even many of them have become poisonous too. Even not a drop of water from some of the water bodies, some of the rivers can be used in the lean season. Now, so as we simply think, अगर हम देखें अपना पीछे को देखें कि ये रिवर सिस्टम तो हमारे यहाँ सदियों से रही हैं, वही रिवर सिस्टम जो या तो हिल्स से या ग्लेशियर से निकल के या स्नो फेड एरियाज से निकल के प्लेन्स में आती हैं और हमारे पानी लाती हैं, और वही पानी हमारे लिए जीवनदायी है, हमारी फसलों के लिए, हमारे इन्वायरमेंट के लिए, हमारे पीने के लिए, सभी कार्यों के लिए. नाउ जो एज्ड पीपल हैं वो पहले देखते रहे होंगे कि बहुत सारी रिवर्स में जो उनके आसपास हैं उनमें ज्यादा क्वांटिटी में गर्मियों में या इवन विंटर पीरियड में, नॉन रेनी पीरियड में फ्लो होता था. दैट हैज गॉन डाउन एट मेनी प्लेसेस, एंड it is not only with in India also, in other parts of the earth also, other part of the world also it has happened. Now we are seeing that how much careful we are, to restore our ecosystem, restore our water bodies. You see friends, we have these river. When the river comes into the plain and ultimately flow the plain areas, hills, and ultimately joins the sea. Now, over the years, over the time, all these rivers naturally set up an equilibrium between flora, fauna, and the natural climatic cycle. And now, when we destroy it or disturb it, and when we disbalance the equilibrium, then these issues of deterioration of water bodies like rivers become more prominent. You may be knowing that the rivers and streams, broadly they are of two types. Some of the rivers which are coming from glaciers and snow-fed areas, snowfall areas that we call snow-fed rivers or glacier-fed rivers. Mostly these such rivers remain perennial because they have source of water from their point of origin, and they mostly continue to keep flowing, though the quantity of flow may vary. Now there are, for example, most of the Himalayan rivers, most of the rivers with Himalayan origin, they are either snow-fed or glacier-fed. Or on the other hand, the other rivers that is non-glacier-fed means the plateau region in the central India, peninsular part of India, rivers, most of these rivers are groundwater fed. They are fed by the waste flow. Particularly, I'm talking about the lean season when it doesn't rain. Also, these rivers are of three types. We can classify these rivers in three types. First, we call ephemeral rivers. Second, intermittent rivers or streams, and perennial rivers. Friends, the rivers which flow round the year. There are flow in the river round the year. Those rivers are called perennial. You all know. The rivers which flow during the rainy period only. When it rains, the runoff comes into it. It recedes and it keeps flowing. As soon as the rain stops, they flow in these streams disappear. So such streams, mostly the streams which flow up to the October, November. In our country, mostly the rainy season is from June end up to the September end. So after that, most of the rivers which are ephemeral, they doesn't have flow. And intermittent streams means the streams which have flows sometimes during the dry period, which have flows around the year. But कभी-कभी जब पान बारिश कम होती है या सूखा का साल होता है या लगातार 2-3 साल से कम बारिश हो रही होती है और सूखा होता है, उन परिस्थितियों में उन रिवर्स में फ्लो सूख जाता है या नहीं होता है, उनका रिवर कोर्स ड्राई हो जाता है particularly during the summer period. During the summer period. So such type of streams are called ephemeral streams. Now, the river health assessment is now it has become a very, very important topic to debate, to discuss, and to think on it. You see, the right from the place of the origin of the river to the outfall in the sea, the naturally flowing rivers, they provide numerous services to society. All these services that are provided naturally without incurring much of the expenses means, and that is one of the reason also that we don't take them very seriously, because it doesn't cost us much. Now, what are the natural services? Natural services means river do these services for itself. River does these natural services for itself. Means the river system interact with the aquifer, the groundwater, and also transportation of solid and sediment, nutrients, habitats for a variety of species. Now, the other type of services which we call anthropogenic services. That means the river provides services and functions to the society, to the mankind, to the biota, to the flora and fauna, and also for many these river services are the source of livelihood for cultural and religious purposes also. So these two types of services that we broadly classify from the rivers. Now, if we go for the as we talk, if we think back and we analyze it, we found that when the river system originates from the one region and ultimately goes through the plain areas, landmass, and joins the sea. In this entire process, it establishes a natural equilibrium. It means it develops an equilibrium of sedimentation, equilibrium of providing moisture and services to the biota, to the flora and fauna. And also, when we go to destroy it, when we don't take up, let me make it like this. Is it better now? Now, over the time now, from the past, the water demand for various purposes has gone up. For drinking purposes, for growing foods, for energy, and because of this, these demands have increased both in space and time. And to meet our demands, we have extracted water either from the groundwater or from the rivers or from the other water bodies which are supposed to recharge the groundwater. And this has actually disturbed the equilibrium. Now, for example, if a river is not fed by the glaciers or snow, it is fed by the groundwater. Now, you see, after the rainy season, in the non-glacier fed rivers, the source of water is the base flow that is coming into the river from the floodplains. And if we go to overexploit that water in the floodplain itself, then the water table goes down below the bed surface of the river, and the base flow doesn't contribute into to the river system as a base flow. And that's why the quantity of water which was supposed to come naturally as it was established in the equilibrium, it goes down, and many times our many good flowing rivers, perennial rivers, has changed into ephemeral river systems. Besides this, the climate change you might have heard. The climate change report, just if you simply see the report that has come in the August this year itself, 2021, the 6th report. Now you see in this report it says the world which developed a consensus with the Geneva Convention, so that we will take up some actions, we will take up actions collectively to keep the Earth's temperature below 2 degrees centigrade in this century. But in this report, it has been indicated that we have failed in doing that, and temperature has increased with a faster rate, and that may lead us to further type of disadvantageous conditions or disastrous conditions. Now, what happens if the climate change? For example, if the temperature rises, the atmosphere holds more moisture. That the moisture means there is more moisture-laden airs. Moisture-laden airs is nothing but the cloud mass with high moisture content. And if 1 degree centigrade temperature is going up, the moisture content in the atmosphere is supposed to increase by 6 to 7%. And if the atmosphere will be holding more moisture, then when it will get the favorable condition for precipitation, it may cause huge variability of rainfall. And because of that, the flood-related disaster like floods and droughts will go to increase. Because once the variability will increase, the floods and droughts type of disaster will increase. In their magnitude and frequency will increase. Now, the groundwater extraction has gone excessively higher. It means we are, whatever is the replenishable water that is added into the atmosphere, into the groundwater during the rainy period, or that we call the groundwater discharge, annual groundwater discharge, we are exploiting or we are withdrawing more than that. And that again creates a disbalance एंड इफ अगर हमारे खाते में जितना पैसा हम साल भर में जमा करते हैं और अगर हम उससे ज्यादा निकालेंगे, सिंपली ग्राउंड वाटर अगर में भी वही होता है, जैसे हम उससे ज्यादा निकालेंगे तो डेफिनेटली जो हमारा रिजर्व पड़ा है या जो सिक्योरिटी पड़ी है, जो सेविंग्स पड़ी है, वो खत्म हो जाएगी। इसी तरह से हमारा ग्राउंड वाटर रिजर्व जो है, नाउ वी आर एक्सप्लॉइटिंग दिस रिजर्व ईयर आफ्टर ईयर। नाउ not only this, when we have taken more water from water bodies, from rivers, and we are adding increased flux of polluted water, increased flux of pollution, and also because of the uncontrolled, and we can say uncontrolled, or we can say not not ecologically or environmentally planned habitation developments, many other type of issues has come. Now you see, in the earth, much of the human settlement is located in the region where it favors where the environment favors to the settlement. Nobody go to live in the deep deserts or in the hyper arid areas, and similarly nobody want to go in the hyper humid or super humid areas. No, mostly the human concentration, most of the economic activities like agriculture, industries, or whatever it is, they are ranching, farming, everything is located in mid-climatic region where the environment favors for its prosperation. So we are taking excessive moisture from the groundwater. We are taking excessive water from the rivers and our water bodies, and in return we are also adding excessive pollutants, pollution load into them in the form of domestic waste, sewerage waste. Many times in many cities, even the sewerage waste is not treated, even domestic waste is not treated, and it has to go to the low-lying areas, and means to the valley regions, and valley regions means it is the region from where the river flows. So it means we are polluting our rivers, and all these actions called significant alteration in river equilibrium, and that is actually in terms of quantity and quality both, and that is actually deteriorating our rivers, our water bodies in quantity and quality. Now, if we see all these things, now we are realizing that there is a need to go for assessing the health of the rivers. You all know that any event, disaster or anything जो हम मेजर कर सकते हैं उसी को अच्छे से मैनेज कर सकते हैं। इसलिए हमें इन असेसमेंट्स की आवश्यकता है, रिवर हेल्थ असेसमेंट की आवश्यकता है। अगर हम उसको जितना अच्छे से क्वांटिटेटिव टर्म्स में असेस कर पाएंगे उतना ही अच्छा मैनेज कर पाएंगे। ये फिलॉसफी ही है कि जो चीज जितनी अच्छे से मेजर की जा सकती है उतनी ही अच्छी तरह से मैनेज की जा सकती है। और दूसरा एक बहुत बेसिक फिलॉसफी है, जैसे अभी हमारे ग्रोवर सर ने भी बताया कि most of the human settlement, most of the habitation settlements have occurred where there are the source of water, either tanks or reservoirs or lakes are there, or mostly in the on the side of the rivers, flowing rivers. And therefore, the philosophy is drawn from here is that the prosperity of a region is directly proportional to the fresh water availability in the lean period or dry period. जिन क्षेत्रों में अच्छा पानी उपलब्ध है बरसात के अलावा दूसरे टाइम में, वो रीजन मोस्टली प्रॉस्पर्स। एंड फॉर एग्जांपल you see the maximum human concentration has gone in this some of the states like Uttar. You see, for example, Uttar Pradesh. This is simply because of the ample amount of ability of water from holy river Ganga, and its implication already before us. Now you see the concept of river health assessment. It has been actually adopted by various Western countries in the Europe, America, and Australia. And initially in the year 2072, the USA actually they prepared a Clean Water Act for the US, through which they have developed a system for river health assessment. Means जिस चीज को आप पहले assess करेंगे और उसको क्वांटिफाई करेंगे, तभी तो आप उसमें क्या एक्शन लेना चाहिए उसे ठीक करने के लिए, उसे वापस, जैसे हमारा हेल्थी है, हम डायग्नोसिस कराते हैं, ब्लड टेस्ट कराते हैं, बहुत सारे टेस्ट कराते हैं और फाइनली एक्सरे कराते हैं और क्या क्या कराते हैं, ईसीजी कराते हैं, 100 चीजें कराते हैं और फिर डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, देन ही ट्रीट्स. It's the same way, it's a simple. Then if we have better measurement, better assessment, then we can plan better mitigation and rejuvenation actions. Currently, many countries in the world, they plan for a management system for river health assessment, and they carry out the river health assessment in routine. They have made a part of their system. They have developed a complete system for this. But in India, we still do not have this type of system for river health assessment. And therefore, we are lacking simply because our decision making, our awareness has not gone timely up to this levels, so that we could have developed the river system, river health assessment plans. But now the time has come. We have to think on it, and we have to assess health of our rivers, and we have to plan for their rejuvenation and for their restoration. I will go. These are some technical things that many of, if you are a student, if many of these students may like it. Mostly for the river health assessment, we need to go with the assessment of in 4 categories. These components are hydrological assessment. That means the assessment of flow and relevant parameters. The geomorphological assessment. That means that is about the bank, their beds, their floodplains, conditions of floodplains, laterals and longitudinal connectivity. The water quality assessment in all the 3 aspects of physical, chemical, and biological parameters, and also the biotic profiles, the producers, consumers, and decomposers. So under these 3 broad components, most of the river health assessment are required to be carried out, and we have to wake up, we have to convince our policymakers and decision makers to think into it, and so that we should not be too late. Also, the river health assessment, particularly in the terms of hydrological assessment, the scientific community in various countries, they have developed different type of methods and tools and techniques to do it. And how it can be done has become now very simple, because we have tools, we have the methodologies, we can further work on these methodologies, and we can suitably modify them also according to our needs also, and we can carry out the river assessment. For this river health assessment, there are flow stress ranking for rivers, that is particularly based on the flow characteristics of the river. For example, how much is the average annual flow, how much this average annual flow has varied with respect to the past, with respect to the few decades, and what is there in the current decades. The low flow conditions. Similarly, the index of flow deviation, as I just now told, range and variability of approach, what is the magnitude of high flows, low flows, and floods, and the hydrologic condition index, which integrates various components and provides us the river health assessment in quantitative terms. I'm not describing these things much in detail because many of you may not like, because it will be more technical. Many students who are doing their masters and PhD, it is good for them. Of course, it is good for the technocrats and decision makers, so that they can plan their things in this direction. Similarly, the geomorphological driver assessment index is there, which compiles the system connectivity, sediment balance, resistance of the channel to change, many other parameters. Similarly, the other index are there. All these indices can help us to make the river health assessment. Now, if we go for the river health assessment in terms of water quality, for this purpose also, there are various type of tools and techniques available, which we can adopt and quantify the river health. Also, the biological indices are available. There's a biological diatom index, so, and similarly this Simpson index and the Shannon-Wiener diversity index. All these indices are very simple to use. Anyone can simply read from the book and can apply it. Now, what we learn, what is the need of our? Now you see, if we can quantify all these things, we can then let us see what do we need. We need to go for planning for rejuvenation of our river systems. How can we bring our river systems back into our stage as it was earlier, and it was in equilibrium? And first of all, when we go to prepare a plan for rejuvenation of a river system, we have to take these things in mind. First, we have to investigate particularly the causes of deterioration of water in terms of quality and quality, establishing the baseline or the reference line. That for that we may need past literature, we may need historical literature, we may need many religious documents also, gazetteers and whatever it is available, information is available about the river system or some tanks or lakes. So we have to extract it for the establishing the baseline. Now we very precisely need to quantify the utilization, pollution load, that is utilization of water from the system, and how much pollution that we are adding to it, and how to manage this pollution load, or to treat this pollution load, or to avoid this pollution load. Then only we can plan the precise actions and effective actions. Now, many times we may not have the primary data or information, so we may go for monitoring also, monitoring and assessment of spatial and temporal variability of water availability, and also deterioration of water quality in space and time. Assessment of hydrological balance is the key. How much water is added into the river system, particularly in the river catchment. How much water is retained there, how much is utilized by the flora and fauna, or then how much water is there which goes out of the system, how much is observed and discharged the groundwater, and for many uses, for vegetation and other uses. Similarly, now if we go for the further assessment, with these water balances, we can quantify how much additional quantity of water is required to be retained within the catchment, either through a storage or groundwater recharge, so that it is available, this fresh water is available in the lean period. This fresh water is available in the lean period. Now, at the same time also, we have to go for hydrogeological investigation to identify what are the pockets and rock formations where the recharge structures, water conservation structures are suitable and effective. And then accordingly, the suitable water conservation and water harvesting structures we can plan and construct and plan, design and construct. Now, excuse me, मैं अभी लेक्चर दे रहा हूँ, मैं 10 मिनट बाद बात करूँगा, आधा घंटे. And once we are able to quantify, we are able to establish the water balance, we are able to establish and quantify how much additional water we need to store and discharge in the catchment to make the river flowing as near to the equilibrium condition, then we can plan we can prepare the plan, execution plan, where what to be constructed at which part, in which part. And friends, मैं आप सभी लोगों को बताना चाहता हूँ कि इसी कड़ी में एक देहरादून शहर है उत्तराखंड में, मैं उत्तराखंड में ही रहता हूँ, वहां से एक रिवर रिस्पना जो मसूरी हिल से निकलती है और आपके हरिद्वार से थोड़ा ऊपर, हरिद्वार और ऋषिकेश के थोड़ा ऊपर गंगा में मिलती है, और वो देहरादून शहर के बीचों बीच से बहती है. ये रिवर रिस्पना रिवर को कभी ऋषिपर्णा रिवर कहा जाता है. ये इसके में पुराने, जैसे मैंने अभी बताया कि हमें बहुत सारे पुराने बैकग्राउंड इंफॉर्मेशन एंड लिटरेचर की भी जरूरत होती है कि रिवर का हिस्ट्री क्या थी. क्या किसी भी रिवर को अगर हम जो आज की कंडीशन में देख रहे हैं, अगर हम उसके लिए रिवर रिजुवनेशन प्लान तैयार करना चाहते हैं तो सबसे पहले उसकी बैक हिस्ट्री भी हम एनालाइज करनी होगी, उसकी हाइड्रोलॉजिकल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स एनालाइज करने होंगे, उसके हाइड्रोजियोलॉजिकल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स, उसका ग्राउंड वाटर क्वांटिफिकेशन एंड रिचार्ज एंड रिप्लेनिशमेंट एनालाइज करना होगा, और फाइनली हाउ मच वाटर दैट वी कैन स्टोर और कंजर्व विद इन द कैचमेंट, which may ultimately be available in the lean period, and it may increase the base flow to the river system, that we have to plan accordingly. So in the Uttarakhand, the government of Uttarakhand decided to go for rejuvenation of this river system. We conduct, I will be telling just in brief because it is too technical. Many students, if they are truly interested in the research work or in the practical planning, then we can help them. They can communicate with us and we can help them in precisely. But I will be going briefly. You see how a river rejuvenation plan can be prepared once the health of the river has gone down. These are some photographs when we conducted our studies from 2018 to 2020, almost for 15-16 months. And thereafter, we presented before the experts and authorities. And this study, believe me, it was very, very highly appreciated. And the government of Uttarakhand opted it to go for execution of the plan, and they are executing it. And also, some of the feature or some of the symptoms are improving. And that is actually giving the signal that the river can be revived. So, friends, primary objective was to sustain the flow in the river system in the lean period. And to do that, the primary objective was to augment the lean season flow in the river system, to enhance the groundwater recharge, and to assess the water quality so that the remedial measures can be planned to improve the water quality of the flowing water in the river system. And we conducted this study as we just I discussed in the same lines, conducting various measurements. As I told, better is the measurement, better is the quantification, better it will be the management plan, and better can be managed. You see friends, हमारे पास सामने सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन ये था कि क्या ये रिवर सच में कभी पेरिनियल होती थी, पूरे साल बहती थी? और जब इसके लिए हमने बहुत सारा लिटरेचर, पास्ट डॉक्यूमेंट्स, गजेटियर्स, ब्रिटिश पीरियड गजेटियर्स एंड बिफोर ब्रिटिश पीरियड डॉक्यूमेंट्स भी हमने खंगाले, तो वो मोस्टली बहुत सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स नेट में भी हैं। और इसके लिए हमने बहुत लर्नेड लोगों से, जो एज लोग हैं जिनके एज 70-80 ईयर, 60 ईयर है, 70 ईयर है, उनसे बार जानने का प्रयास किया कि क्या आपने कभी समर में या दिसंबर जनवरी के बाद इस रिवर को बहते देखा है। लोगों का ये कहना था, कोई कहता था कि मैंने तो इसमें नहाया है, कोई कहता था मैंने कभी नहीं देखा इसको गर्मियों में बहते दिसंबर के बाद, कोई अपने अपने तरह से लोग बताते थे। Document was also not very clear, and subsequently we kept on serving the British period document, and we found the solid and evidence of this river system, and we found the answer of the question that I told, and answer was yes, the river was having flow around the year, and these are the evidences that prove that the river system was flowing. You see, in this river system, yeah, there were 5 floor mills installed during the British period, and this is there is a divergent channel, that this is the divergent structure that was constructed in sometime 1839 by the Britishers, and the engineer Cotley designed this system. Before this also, during the before the British period, also the king at the kingdom time, there was a the Queen of the Pandey. She constructed similar type of diversion structure. That was actually the Kacha structure for the diversion of this river water to the downstream riparian areas, particularly for drinking purposes of then the Hera city. And these evidence we visited, and we found that many structures there are still there. Old structures of British period are still there, and these are evidence of that the river was flowing. Then only these floor mills can be operated. This is one evidence. The technical evidence is that any direct flow diversion structure is designed in a river system or planned and designed in a river system which have flow around the year, because this purpose of this diversion system was to feed drinking water, and drinking water means 100% with the 100% guarantee, with the 100% reliability. That means this river system was then perennial, maybe before at the time of 1839, and subsequently it was perennial for certain time, and as the groundwater extraction in the floodplains increased, the base flow took the high gradient, and there is still flow in the river system, but it flows underground. It doesn't appear on the river bed. And so we found the answer for which we are searching. Now, we consider various data technically. Of course, we have to, if you have to go to quantify, to carry out the water balance for the river system, you eliminate the rainfall, eliminate what is the evaporation losses around the year in different season, from water bodies, and also from the vegetation and from the bare land. For that, we may need the satellite images and data also. We may need other information like groundwater information records, and also the soil map and land use land cover plan. There we have to prepare various types of map, diagnose what is the different type of slopes and classes at different localities and in time. Also the type of soil and land use land cover, and there are springs. This river system is fed by the 21 springs that feed this river system during the lean period. We try to prepare the inventory of the river system and monitor them for the around one water cycle, 1 year. And we prepare a assessment of the these springs. You see, these are the stream flow, how these flows in spring varied. These are some of the good springs, major springs, where the flow increases during the rainy period and it recedes, and these springs are perennial. Also, the flow at various in the river system actually we started from the after the monsoon until the next summer, and it depletes like this at various places near Massey Fall, Shikhar Fall, and also at the Rajpura Canal diversion, which I showed you right now. Now about the groundwater investigation, we found that suppose if it is the longitudinal gradient of the system, and earlier the river flow that upstream seepage or base flow were coming and appearing in the river system, something like this, right? Something like this. Now, because of the over exploitation and the depth of groundwater has gone down up to 20 meters, it flows in this way. And that's why the base flow, which was supposed to appear in the river and keep on flowing in the river as a river flow, that is not there. This appeared, and it happened nearly before 70s, 80s, possibly much before that also. And also you see the groundwater table. Depth of groundwater table was has gone down over the time in the 16-17. It was much higher at that time in the year. This is average for 2006 to 50. So in this way, the excessive usage of groundwater has led to change this river from perennial to ephemeral. Simple water bursting, equation of continuity, everybody knows. Water balance is same as the bank balance. कितना हमने जमा किया, कितना निकाला, कितना ब्याज आया, कितना टैक्स लग गया, और फाइनली कितना बचा. इसी तरह से वाटर में भी करते हैं. कितना रेनफॉल हुआ, कितना रन ऑफ जो बाहर चला गया उसको क्वांटिफाई करते हैं टेक्निकली. कितना ऑपरेशन में चला गया जो प्लांट्स एंड वेजिटेशन से भी गया और सरफेस से भी गया. एंड ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज को हमने एस्टिमेट किया. और ये और फाइनली दिस एस डिनोट the change in storage over a time, and time scale here is 100 is a year, and if it is year then it has to be 0, and that way we quantified there is a total catchment area of 53 square kilometers. Then total rainfall in this catchment is this 2247, and finally from that is equivalent to 120 million cubic meter. Now why you may ask why we are doing it, why do we do it? Friends, we need to do it to quantify how much additional water we need to store to make this system restored or make this system perennial. And to quantify this, we have to do this all exercises I'm not telling you the technical thing because many of you may get lost in it, but these are the evaporation losses that is in the order of 53 million cubic meter that we estimated. And the water that is being utilized in the catchment before entering of this river into the Dehradun city, it is in the order of 5.2 million meter cube. And final balance is that so out of the total precipitation 100%, nearly 46% goes as evapotranspiration. लगभग 36% जो है पानी रन ऑफ में जो बह के नदी से बाहर हम यूज नहीं कर पाते और वो बाहर चला जाता है. ग्राउंड वाटर में जो रिचार्ज होता है वो लगभग 17% होता है, मींस 20 लगभग 21 मिलियन मीटर क्यूब. एंड फाइनली जब हमने इसी रिचार्ज को एस्टिमेट टेक्निकली जो जीसी मेथड से किया तो वो भी लगभग इसी रेंज में आया, लगभग 21, यहाँ 22, लगभग. इसका मतलब है कि ये दोनों ही ये कैलकुलेशन जो वाटर बैलेंस किया ये सही है. और इससे ये पता लगा कि हमारे पास इसमें जो रन ऑफ बाहर से बह के जा रहा है जो 36% है, मींस 43.94 मिलियन मीटर क्यूब है, यही वाटर है. अगर हम इसको या तो रिचार्ज में ऐड कर दें इसका एक पार्ट, इसका या कुछ पार्ट बीच में स्टोर कर लें और उसको फिर लीन पीरियड में रिवर सिस्टम को पेरेनियल बनाने में कंट्रीब्यूट करवाएं. और इसके करने के लिए हमने एक प्लान बनाया कि अगर हम रिवर सिस्टम को 10 सेंटीमीटर फ्लो मेंटेन करते हैं तो हमें कितना वाटर स्टोर करना पड़ेगा, और उसके लिए हमें लगभग 36 मिलियन मीटर क्यूब पानी की आवश्यकता थी. वहां टोटल रन ऑफ जो नदी में बह के जाता है 43 मिलियन क्यूबिक मीटर. इसका मतलब है कि अगर हम पूरा का पूरा पानी भी बरसात में रोक लें और फिर बाद में उसको बहाएं तो भी क्योंकि उसमें ऑपरेशन लॉसेस भी होंगे, तो भी हमारे पास सिचुएशन वाज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, एंड इट इज सिंपली बिकॉज द डिप्लीशन ऑफ ग्राउंड वाटर टेबल. एंड फाइनली when we investigated it, we found that there are no sites where this much quantity of water can be stored in the upreach catchment before the city of Dehradun. So within the city we cannot construct a dam or just in the upreaches because it may be there is no site to store this much water there. And that means the second option which remains with us is to plan for groundwater recharge. And so for that a comprehensive rejuvenation plan was prepared, and for that we conducted the hydrogeological investigation to identify where the water is actually can be stored, can be recharged maximum, or what are the type of formations, rock formations which can hold the water. So for example, this is coal limestone. These are the actually water bearing and water released rocks, where most of these springs are perennial. And similarly, I will be telling in a nutshell also. And similarly, this is the Jhari Pani. Up to this region, from origin up to next 6 kilometer, 5 and 6 kilometer, these rock formation is very good. And if any recharge structure planned in this region, it may substantially contribute to the revival of these springs, revival of the flow in the lean period. Similarly, there were other type of formations where these springs are not yielding that much water, and even the Blenny boulders bed type of rocks, they are very weak springs. They doesn't hold much water, and that's why the water it was not sustaining. Further in the this type of the Chandpur phyllite type of rock formations, these springs just dry down just after the rainy period. So this may be investigated and found what are the sites where we can go for recharge structures, where we can conserve more and more water. so that it get recharged and it can feed in the lean period. And similarly, in the plain area, before the Dehradun, there are dune gravels, they are highly permeable. So any storages in these areas is not possible because it gets go down. But the storage there was no site to go for storage, and also there was habitation area adjoining to it. So that the condition was it was the limitation. And these are the up region where the most of the water bearing formations are there. And for this, we actually suggested don't go for don't promote anthropogenic changes in this area. Otherwise, most of the perennial river springs will get filled or will get dry up, and plan for the recharge in this region as much as possible. In other region also, but this is very, very good region for groundwater recharge. Similarly, we conducted various type of assessment. We gave them where to conduct which type of structures. These are various sites where the masonry dams. These are the locations actually, the river network. So technically, we gave a comprehensive plan. These were the monitoring sites for the water quality. We monitored the water quality, all those parameters I told you there, and we found that most of the deterioration is because of the addition of domestic waste and sewage waste in the river system. Because there is no flow, the flow in the river, the downstream is mostly from the sewage and the domestic waste. Because there are STPs constructed there, but many of them the domestic waste and sewage waste is not connected to those things. And finally, we gave a comprehensive plan where to construct the STPs and how to. They have already executed. They are executing. They have conducted took our plan. We finally prepared the assessment because the time I'm running out of time, so I'm going. Then we gave a plan, technical plan for preparation of water conservation structures and water harvesting structures. And when we assess the quantity of recharge which can be achieved, we found that since it is located in the dune gravel areas where permeability is high, the groundwater recharge through rainwater harvesting could be maximum. And followed by staggered trenching. Staggered trenching means with a digging trench in the forested area, wasteland areas in a specific pattern. And we gave them a comprehensive plan, and these are some structures for the first order streams where the moisture can be conserved. It will go down and it will appear in in delayed time in the river streams and also in the lean period. These various type of structure. These are the low boulder structure and Gagman structures. The masonry structures, we gave them the site where to completely. This is the I say the stagger trenching in a definite pattern. This is very influential, very effective, and we found that in the order of about 7 million cubic meter moisture recharge can be achieved from the stagger trenching. These are the example. They are executing this plan. This figure, the real execution of this plan, they are constructing in the forested area, along the hill, along the slope also, at various levels. They are constructing percolation pit, percolation tanks, stagger trenching, stop dam, check dam, avian structures, many type of structure. We have given a suitability plan for them. And finally, the renovation of the new construction of new barrage with some storage capacity, which may contribute water to the river flow during the lean period. And finally, friends, we found that if we execute this plan in the next 5 to 6 years, the river, if the groundwater exploitation is not increased beyond the present level, this river system may achieve the perenniality. And for this, even the last 2 years, we are observing that the river system flowing duration, earlier it was used to get dry in the December. Last year it was flowing up to March. This year also there is flow in the river system. So the symptoms are appearing. These are some of the water conservation structures. And finally, friends, I have a take-home message for all of you, and it is like this, friends. Since the prosperity of a region is directly proportional to the freshwater availability in the lean period, in the dry period, therefore, wherever you are, please do everything to store water, to conserve water from the excessive runoff which is going out of our systems during the rainy period. Please do and promote the discharge of groundwater as much as possible, and possibly do it before it is getting polluted. And if possible, think for reduction of water demand and reduction in exploitation. And this is the solution. These are the primary things that may shape our coming generation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, friends. Bala sir, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, any questions from the participants?
Sir, before going to participant, I would like to say that this is a very comprehensive study that we conducted. We are also doing some other studies, and this is being executed by the government of Uttarakhand, implemented by the government of Uttarakhand, and we are observing and just feeling the symptoms of the effect of rejuvenation plan. This is a small river system passing through the city of Dehradun. Thank you, sir. And over to you, sir. Thank you.
Any questions from the participants? Sir, there is a question from my side. That is regarding this river interlinking project.
Yes, sir.
What about its feasibility, sir, and its current status?
Very good question, sir. Actually, as an engineer, I'm basically academically I'm an engineer, and I'm working as a scientist in this institute since last 31 years, sir. This river interlinking project, this initial study and feasibility study was done by our institute. You may be hearing in the news also the Kane Betwa link that has got approved, has been we conducted 2 studies, comprehensive study, initial feasibility, and then the technical assessment. And also for the other links we are doing it. Sir, we have to go for true and correct assessment, and we have to go for quantifying the how much institute or regional water requirement is there. In many regions, the water availability is relatively high.
Okay.
If we go for transferring this water to the deficit region, definitely it is going to change the scenario and improve the prosperity in the area. There is a clear example of Yamuna Nagar, sir. That is nothing but a interbasin water transfer. No, sir. Now it is the productivity of that area has gone higher, more than Punjab, more than productivity of Punjab per unit per hectare yield per hectare. Because yes, the fresh water means the prosperity. Ability of fresh water in lean season means the prosperity. So we should go. There are interlinking projects already executed in our country. There may be nearly 50. It's not a new thing. Okay. For example, yeah, but there are adjoining river linking. Means, for suppose there is 2 rivers are flowing just in a from certain area. If one has excessive flow, excessive volume of water, then that water is simply stopped and diverted to the other river. If it is conserved and stored in some structures, dams and reservoirs in between, and then it is passed to the other stream which get dry. These are the example we have seen, the Bansagar project that is in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, and it is transferring water from Son Basin to Tons Basin. And there was a Rewa district you may heard in the Madhya Pradesh, and earlier there was very acute problem of water shortage in the summer period. There was no water in underground, means groundwater was getting almost exhausted, and people were used to run from miles to take water to fetch water for drinking purposes. Now, just through a tunnel, this water has from Bansagar Canal has been diverted to this river region, and now this time there is a huge production of crop yield, and also this problem of water scarcity has gone. So that way, sir, wherever possible, we should think for it, but we have to take up the appropriate feasibility study. We have to assess its economics also, and accordingly we have to plan it. But yes, it is the option. It is the one of the option, and very good option. But taking water from Brahmaputra to the Kaveri Valley or Krishna Valley, that may be the huge task. Taking water from you say from many other rivers are there, and many times the assessment, because we are going to destroy the equilibrium, so third type of problems may emerge, and we have to be very careful in planning those interlinking projects.
Okay, sir. So it's now time to wind up the program. So first of all, I am thankful to Dr. R.P. Pandey to with us to grace this occasion and for his very knowledgeable talk. I am thankful to our Director General and Director, Science City, for their valuable guidance and support for this event. I am thankful to all the participants for their participation. I am thankful to media for the coverage of this event. I am thankful to my staff members for their efforts to make this webinar successful. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be with you. Thank you, sir.